Hello and welcome back to Double O Neal. My name's Tris and today I'm going to talk to you about kind of what is the next stage for my layout. On the last episode you would have seen that we now have some changes to the loft. Got a new loft hatch, got rid of the boiler, as well as I have a window in the roof, which is great, which I can open up, get some fresh air, which is super for a day like today when it's quite warm. On the layout loop, we've lost the other side. So this side, you can see behind me, that's all there. This is going to be staying. I'm not going to redo all that work. That took a lot of effort and time, and I really enjoyed what I did. But I want to do a bit more. I'm not ready yet to do the rest of the loop. I'm not so interested in trying to work out what I want to do with it, but I've had for some time an idea on what I want to do with this front end here, and I'm going to go through that with you today. I've got a few options. Some are a bit more ridiculous than the others, but I'd like to see what you think. I'd like you to let me know in the comments below. Kind of some ideas. You could do this, you could do that. Oh, I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't do that. I'm not too worried if you don't have to worry about offending me. I'm kind of open to hearing about what everyone has to say. I'll also let you know what my favoured one is, so to speak. So what I do is I prepared some boards the other day to go up here. Didn't take too long. I actually used some a foam board for one side because it's easy to work with. The other side for here, a much larger area, I actually use some plywood. So I'll just pop them on now and you can yeah, have a look. Just before I start, if you haven't already subscribed, subscribe. Come check out the channel. If you like what you're seeing, hit that like button. The original plan with this area was I have my double slip where something would come off and you'd have some goods. Going through my mind is what I'd like: an engine shed, I want to have a goods shed, I'd like to have sidings that come off the goods shed. And before I had that board there, my plan was just to kind of have this and do something here, something very simple. But why not have more? And that's where this piece of large wood comes in. Having this large piece here, which I'd end up cutting across here and finishing off over here, would allow me to utilise this area a bit more. It seems a bit odd because I have this large curve here. You know, wouldn't the station have just come through here? And you know, that would be nice, and then have the goods bits over there. But an argument for having the goods this side is it means I'll be able to work the line. I'll be able to effectively play trains. The bits being further away are just going to be passing through bits that I can enjoy running whilst I can do some shunting in the goods yard. So my idea for here initially was having a goods yard. So what I'll do is I'll play some bits out and show you what I mean. So starting with this, if I just zoom in, you'll see from, I'm hopefully careful with the camera, look over here and you'll see that we have our main line and we have a route to rejoin. So this would actually be where it all comes off. So if we just spin the camera around to here, the loco would come in. I'm not going to do it because nothing's connected. The loco will come in from this route here, travel along here, points of splits, come over, and my thoughts were, and hopefully this kind of works, widen the lens, the goods train will come into here, just as like an initial get off the track way, so it can then utilise this area. Then the loco, if it needs to go on its journey, it's dropping off everything, then obviously it can disconnect, you know, go off there, or it can come back round and do whatever really, and it can drop off, you know, its next one, take the back of the loco, well, the, you know, the brake van, sorry, back onto the track, so I can have some fun there. My idea for over here, I've got this three-way asymmetric point. I got some of the bits from Tony's Trains Rugby, which are the code 70 bits. The asymmetric point only comes in code 75. Code 100 has a symmetrical one, which I kind of don't want that. It kind of doesn't look right in my eyes, so I'd love it if Pico made a code 100 asymmetric, or even did some other variants of the asymmetrics, but fine. So the beauty of this is you've just got one point in one area which can route out to these two, which will be, I guess, either storage for goods that have come in, or storage for coaches, a train that's going to rest, or a loco that's going to rest, that's going to be here, or goods that are ready to go out. You can come and collect it, that'd be fine. To do a lot of the work for the goods, I wanted to utilise an engine shed here, so we can have, pop that back down, a shunter. So you have a mini coaling point just here, a water tower just sitting here, so then it can feed it. And this would actually run a bit further down the railway. At the moment it is a mess, but this would come to about here. We're going to get rid of this bridge maybe, or maybe something would drop down the back there and go out that way, but I'm not too worried about that. I've got an extra siding for another resting loco or something. It could be a broken down loco sits over here, so you could have a couple sitting there, so that might look quite nice. I might have it where that ends up being this side of things, and this can come down like this. I haven't really worked it out, but I've got a nice Y point, again code 75, got a load of code 75 bits. How am I going to connect them to the other trackers, through the means of these transition tracks, which are code 75 one side and code 100 the other, so I can connect them from where I'm on code 100 to the 75, and I'll get that seamless difference. You might ask, well, what's the point in running code 75 versus code 100? The code 75 offers basically the asymmetric to me. Some people find the smaller rail looks nicer on it, because the code 100 rail is a bit chunkier, arguably out of scale. The negative is if I want to run some older wagons which have got deeper flanges, or locos with deeper flanges, you will get a bit of a rattle as it goes along. But I'm not too worried about that. I can upgrade some of our wagons and locos. I'd have to have a think about that, but I'm not too worried at the moment. This is the goods yard area, so I'm going to be running more modern things around here, I think, at least anyway. So this is version 1. This is kind of what I like. I'm going to talk about the version 2 that I'm thinking about, which is a slight change from this, and I'll show you what I mean. So a slight change, and there's a few reasons for doing this. I like the look of all of the office parts of the goods shed, and I'd like to keep that. You could then have your, like your lorries and things here. You'd be able to finish off the front of the scene quite nicely by having the scenics that are going to accompany the goods shed area and the loading of things that are goods coming in or goods going out. The other change that's come, because we've hopped from that track to that track, our passing loop is on the outside effectively from the goods shed, but I've put the sidings over here, which also mean that when we look to the right on this side, we would then actually have some shunting room. So just rotating the camera around slightly, we'd have room before the main line to bring like 1 or 2 wagons or vans off here. So if you've come from the goods, I'll bring camera back. It's very difficult to show you here because I've got bits in the way at the moment. Maybe a better angle from here. So we would have obviously offloaded or loaded a wagon. That can then work its way down here, back through the point that's just back here. So just rotate the camera slightly, bring it here. That doesn't have to come onto the main line yet because it's still, occupying the goods area. That can then come back and offload into the areas, which that interests me a lot. I'd need to get another one of, actually no, I'd utilise this asymmetric one. I think I need to get another one, but I don't. This asymmetric one can sit here instead of further up, because the reason that would be is because we're now going to replace it with a point. Now we have the point here. It would mean that we've got the resting siding for a loco, a train that's waiting for something, or some random coaches that would just be sitting there that aren't being used that day. And so I like that. I kind of like it when I see on railways where you just see a couple of coaches on a siding out of the way, and that'd be good. We'd still have this engine shed here, just the single one, which is a topic I'd like to talk to you about now, actually, to have more than that and the bits that come with it. At the moment we've got a single engine shed here. We could go to a double. Would that mean then, if we go to the double, do we need to have a coaling stage? Because we'd have quite a lot of coaling that needs to be going on. Could the coal be up here for either one to be done? We'd have our water tower anyway. The next extreme would be this one, to go and have a 4-lane engine shed. It's a bit much. I've got a workshop kind of on the side here. This is an old in the Greenwood one. Not old, it's the current product. But yes, could we have all this? Could we have a bunch of points coming into here? Could we have a 3-lane one, a 4-lane one? We'd then need to have ourselves a great feature, which would be the coaling stage. The problem with the coaling stage is it takes up a lot of height. The thing that I don't want to do is to cover up the station area that's over there. If we decided, oh right, well there's plenty of room just here, pop that there, coaling stage. Well, actually all that hard work we've done on the station would be blocked up. The only thing I wanted to have around here was a water tower, which should actually be used to hide this beam a little bit. I thought put the water tower here and that'll be out of the way, and that can be then feeding the water pipes, you know, further around the layouts. So that's a topic that, you know, that goes through my mind. The idea of having loads of engines in that kind of area excites me, but I think it's just going to be too crammed in, and especially this engine shed it's massive. I think I'd have something a bit slower. I think it's similar to, like, you know, Didcot Railways one in regards to the height of the doors relative to the locos. But it's a bit too much for my railway. You could argue we could put it in another place. You could say, why don't you put it over here? Let's get rid of your goods shed, put that somewhere like over here, you know, and then you could have a nice going through engine shed, you know. Fantastic. A couple more points, bits coming through. Again, I feel that this dominates the scene. If I was going to have it anywhere, I'd be wanting it to block, you know, that pillar going up there, but really I don't want that, and I think it might look a bit silly. I've got quite a nice, arguably elegant station, one that picks up the edge of a branch line at the back where that loco is. You can just see in the distance there, and then I've got my up and down line sitting there. It's not that kind of station. Why would this station need such a building on there to house so many locos? Arguably I'll just have a section which is just for locos. So I think this is off the cards, but let me know what you think about the 4-road building. I think ultimately the way I've got it, there's purpose to each bit, you know. So we've got the goods shed, which will be taking goods from local things. We've got tracks that work around it. We've got sidings to store things. Here we've then obviously got that resting bit, and then here we have our single one. There's an argument though, I could have a long single one for the locos, because it could have 2 locos down it. I've seen some where they're reasonably long length unit, so I'd make one, I think, from scratch, buy some windows, maybe 3D print some bits to create it. So I won't be using this one. This is one of the Scaledale ones, I believe. The good shed that I have there is a Scaledale one as well. Picked these up from Tony's Trains of Rugby a little while ago, and can and ahhing whether I'm going to use them or not, or make my own thing. I'll have a think, or I can address a few areas on them, add some details, but I think details need to be added. But yeah, so let me know what you think. If you know of any Great Western Railway lines, which I can look up in the books, I've got quite a few books with the stations, the engine sheds and various things, and how things are mapped out, and I've been looking in them quite a lot to work out where things are going to go. At the moment, this is my favourite route. What I'll end up doing is trimming out some of this area next to it, not having too much, and dropping this side down like I did in my narrow gauge layouts, just so when I film things there's an incline going up to it, so then we get a nice shot opposed to a hard edge which will be, you know, painted black or grey. For here, like I said on the other one, I'll be trimming, I think, something along here. So I'll come from this edge that's over here, you just see my fingertips, and then run it down here just to finish off nicely. I might even kind of bridge something around, I'm not sure yet, might finish off harsh, and then go and meet the barrier with another little triangle I can put in over there, and I can work out a way of integrating all of this to make it look nice. I think as well as the water tower that'll sit here, I'll put some trees in here, and that will allow more of this to be blocked off. Maybe paint this a lighter blue, so the sky shines down. Just never know what to do with these. If you cut them off, your roof falls down, so that's always a tricky thing. Though this one might not be so bad, it's close to the wall, but I obviously don't want to go and destroy my loft, so we'll be leaving that alone. So yeah, so I think you've got the gist of what I've done here. I like what's here. Let me know your thoughts. Please quote things, places that I can look up. It's always hard to share in the comments pictures. If not, go on my Instagram or my Facebook. For my Instagram, I'm much more on that, and leave me any pictures you think I could do. Let me know if you think I'm going along the right lines with what I've got here, and if it's not too much. Yeah, anyway, thank you for listening. I'm looking forward to doing some more work on here, but the main reason I've wanted to work this out is I wanted to ballast those bits over there and finish a lot of that layout out, but certain things I need to work out what I'm doing in front of it before I can decide, well, what if I'm going to add a point? Do I need to add this? Do I need to add that? So that's one area that I think I've addressed now. Looking at this, I can trim this off, take this bit of wood off next, and then I can look at finishing some of these areas over here, which will be very satisfying indeed. I hope you've enjoyed this. I kind of enjoyed the stage of working out where things are going to go. One of the negative parts I find is when you've put everything down and then you go, oh no, I don't like this, but you've gone through all the effort. Actually placing things out, spending quite a few days just messing around with ideas. I've kind of spent like 2 or 3 days just working things out, been looking at my books, been chatting to friends, just getting some ideas. Big thank you to those that have been happy to listen. Big thank you to you for watching and commenting, liking. If you haven't already liked, please like. Hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Big thank you to my patrons and my channel members. Your support is always welcome and very much appreciated. If you'd like to become a patron or a channel member, click on the link below. It just basically supports the channel. You get to see videos a bit earlier than everyone else. It's that kind of a privilege, and also a lot of you keep in contact with me, ask me various questions, or just generally offer nice support, which is fantastic. Anyway, take care as always, look after yourselves, don't work too hard, make sure you enjoy model railways. Take care, bye bye. Oh jeez.